Just be aware. Live.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just so you're aware that. Also, can you mute the dinging on your Facebook? Because I keep thinking it's mine. Just go
It's
into
now
settings.
gone.
Perfect. Just because I'm picking it up, so
Gotcha.
we're good on that. Yeah, I thought, you know, Gary has his moments. He has his moments where I'm like, wow. And then there are moments I'm just like, how in the world did somebody not tell you not to say that? Just
Yeah.
how?
I'm just thinking.
But what can you do?
I mean, we said in some of our other shows, I really think the key to supporting Johnson and not getting bent out of shape about it is identify he's a centrist, stop trying to call him a libertarian, and as soon as you stop thinking that he represents you, then it's easier to support him or at least not get enraged by every stupid thing he says.
That's a fair point. It's a very fair point. Trying. The LPOC had to call a they in our business, like in the written business, was a discussion about party unity, because I have posted anti-Weld and anti-Johnson things. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be censored by anybody. I am supporting the party, but at the same time, like, I will not be a blank, like, lock and step follower. I'm not going to sit there and say I disagree. I don't disagree with something I disagree with. And they made it a point. Like, there's me and one other guy in the chair's position, and we're like, we know you're talking about us. You could just tell us you're talking. Like, we don't have to beat around the bush any further. Like, we know who you're talking about. But it's funny because then they sat there and they tried to, like, he's a politician. We know he's going to sell out on some issues, and we know he's going to try to do this, and he's going to try to do that, and then he's not going to be a pure line libertarian. I'm like, then what the are we doing? Like, what? If you guys can say all that, then what are we doing? But yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, too, like, in our discussions, I went from saying, like, F this libertarian thing if Gary Johnson's going to be at the front of it, to him walking back. Like, I think the beginning of me starting to back the ticket for the first time was him walking back his position, because it made me think for the first time that if we bitch enough and we hold his feet to the fire and we even have, like, Sarwalk sit him down like he did on the vaccine thing and go, yo, buddy, this ain't our platform.
No, yeah. Hey, is my flag backwards?
Yes, it is. Come to think of it.
I'm going to fix that right now. My brother just texted me, he goes, your flag is backwards. I'm assuming he jumped on YouTube. Give me a second.
Oh, man. Wait, is that Gunther? But no, I actually heard from people in Gary's staff when he came to me, and they go, we watch your posts. And I'm like, cool. So I'm not just stroking my ego. When I put out those complaints, they're actually getting to Gary's people.
Good, they should be.
Which is really cool. It actually makes me feel like, man, I actually have a chance at steering him in the right direction.
Well, yeah, that hopefully somebody can. All right, hold on 2 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, man, I don't know if you saw it today too. Again, I mean, I know this is technically broadcasting live, but this isn't too inflammatory. Paul Joseph Watson put out a call to action saying, Gary is not a libertarian. I can't call myself a libertarian because of people or because of him. Send me your best Gary hit pieces. I'm going to do a video destroying him.
I did see that.
And I haven't sent it, but I've been thinking about sending him the pickle video. It's not really a hit piece.
Which video?
The pickle video.
Oh, the pickle video?
I mean, I'm a pickle guy now. That's my deal.
Is that better than fucking lopsided or anything? I don't give a fuck, really.
No, it's good. And
all right, cool.
It's readable now.
Perfect. That makes much more sense. For some reason, I see it inverted on my screen, but on your screen, it's totally the other way. So that's why I had it flipped that way. I was like, oh, maybe it flips me around.
How's the flag looking behind me?
Oh, your stuff's always look golden. That's why I had to step up my game. I mean, I have like a Bill of Rights disappearing mug. I got my common sense, right? But I don't have enough space. So
Right.
I'm in the process of actually figuring out how to. I bought a webcam so I can be further away from the camera while not being further away from my laptop.
Gotcha.
So hopefully that will work. We'll find out. I bought it from some website that sells things very, very cheap. So whether or not the product or the quality of product will be worth a damn, we'll find out. And if it is, then bargain. If not, then I spent $12.
Oh my goodness! On the topic of sets, have you seen Austin's green screen?
Yes. Oh my God, the Moldo green screen version of the candlelit chess game.
Yes, that's what I wanted to. That's what
nailed it. He nailed it.
Dude, I could not believe it. I must have laughed at that for a good 10 minutes straight. Like
that was
probably
one of the best.
Asphyxiation. I was laughing so hard at that.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the best. I can't move that way. There we go. It was one of the best edits in F. The thing is, I need to figure out what program Moldo's using because his shit's always solid.
Yeah.
He
always upgrade from Microsoft Paint to like real it.
Okay, it's not Paint. It is not Paint. It's GIMP. It's the cheap man or the poor man's version of what is it? Photoshop.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've been using. Although some of the stuff, most of it's just learning how to use it. Like I'm just, I feel like I'm farting around half the time just playing with tools so I can figure out what in the fuck they do.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with it. I'm figuring out how to make a meme finally on it, so I don't have to use those websites that put their own stupid logo on it.
Yeah.
All right.
So
what do we want to cover? Yeah. What do you need?
Let's talk about Rand selling out early because this sweater is hot as balls.
Hot. All right. Well, then let's just use that. Like as soon as we hit our intro piece, you just do it. Just say, hang on. I have to get something off my chest, and then do that.
I like it. I mean,
okay.
Just for the record, before we do go on, though, are you as disappointed as I am? Like
with the Rand thing, I'm disappointed that he's supporting him, but it's not really like a whole full-throated, obviously.
I think
I'm not disappointed because he's
hard on him for the sake of viewership, though. I think people.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I would just say
on him because they'll share it to hate on us.
Right, and that's not something. Rand is still a very vital role in the
still love the guy.
Exactly, we can criticize the same way we criticize if somebody else that we get along with did something stupid. We're going to criticize you if you make a wrong decision.
Shit on Gary for stepping out of line. I'm gonna shit on Rand for stepping out of line.
100%. And do I hold it against him a little bit? It kind of irks me, but I can see he wants to change the Republican Party. That's his goal, and in order to complete that goal, that's what he has to do. He has to stay within the mainframe. That's unfortunate for us, and I think that's why most libertarians take it personally, because they see it as kind of a slap in our face. But he's been GOP from the moment he was born, so it's not as if he went libertarian to the GOP and then decided to do this. At least he's stuck to the ground he laid, I guess, if that makes sense.
What insults me is the idea that libertarianism somehow lived in the GOP was kind of on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's also our fault too.
Hey, I did 300 hours for that guy in New Hampshire.
What,
I tried.
Would you take it back? Would you take it back? Right? You still
No.
I still full throw. Like I would still vote for him in a heartbeat
bumper stickers off my car? Maybe.
Oh wait, hold on. Would you vote for Rand or would you vote for Gary?
Huh?
Would you vote for Rand or Gary first?
Oh shit, we're live, aren't we? If they were both on the ballot, you know what the answer is.
If they were both, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So don't give me this ripping bumper stickers off your car shit because I know it ain't gonna happen.
But let me tell you this right now, and I think we'll do this once we actually get talking. But I want to prime you with this before we actually officially do it.
I love being primed.
I know, but we're gonna prime with this. If you had to vote for Rand or a MASH in the Republican primary,
What office are we talking here?
No, we're talking 2020. They're both running.
Oh, for POTUS. Okay.
For POTUS.
Ooh.
And you got to back one or the other.
Well, let's put this into perspective. One, I don't think this would ever happen because I think they're better friends than that. Two, my answer, man.
So let's do this on air.
Yeah. Let's pose that. So after you do the whole shirt bit, then we'll just pose that question.
But isn't that? I mean, I think that's a good question, and they're both hinting at a
Absolutely.
2020 run right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's a good question.
Hold on, I'm gonna grab one thing, and
Okay,
then
don't hurt the mic that doesn't work.
right. I'm gonna join Team Yeti soon enough.
All right. So you cannot
Soon
do
enough.
sometime later. Fucking. Never mind.
It feels good to be back. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been weird. Both of us have been in the hospital. It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah, I'm still doing better than Hillary.
Well, you're doing better than
if
if
I
you
were
knew
included in
Hillary.
the polls, I bet I could poll higher than her too.
Did you see the poll that had Harambe beating Jill Stein and Jill Stein beating D's Nuts by 1 point in Texas?
Did you see
That was
Jill
a pretty good-
Stein actually seriously whipping her dick out for Harambe?
She
Clits out for Harambe.
Oh God, that's so bad. All right, so I'll do the intro so people don't know you're here yet. I'll welcome us back, and I'll welcome you as our guest of returning.
The long
so that way, right, and then I'll just let you kind of explain the situation of what's been going on, and we'll roll from there. What do we, I know we're going to cover the whole RAND thing. We're going to cover the IAVA. What else did we talk about?
I mean, I want to talk pickles. I want to own
Pickles?
it. This will be the show I want to own it up because
Okay.
last show was very professional. Now I'm here. It needs to get very unprofessional.
I like it. All right, so we're going to do RAND, IVA, pickles, Maine, the issues going on in Maine, not necessarily what we talked about previously.
I just want to take a moment to talk about Governor LePage because a lot of people have been asking me, and yeah, I'm not supposed to take a position as a libertarian and not a Republican, but as somebody who's known the family, I got to say something. Because this is a man that's, listen, LePage is more libertarian than Gary Johnson. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
Don't worry, nobody's watching this right now, so we're good.
I thought you said there was one person watching.
There was, but they disappeared.
Good. So I can say it with impunity. A lot of people in my own party don't even like me being favorable to LePage. I'm kind of the one guy that's like, don't skewer him. We do that, we lose potential Republican crossovers.
Absolutely.
And they're like, you're still a Republican in sheep's clothing. I'm like, no, I'm just not retarded.
No, I have political forethought.
I mean, I took shit in PMs over just my posting my D7 to D13 strategy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the post itself, but I must have gotten 10 different PMs from 10 different people. They didn't want to be seen arguing with me publicly because they know I'll make a spectacle of it and screenshot and shit.
As if you can't do that with PM?
Yeah. So they PM. I know. And I respect their PMs, but for the most part, people are like, you're selling out. I'm like, no, I'm talking strategy. There's more than philosophy to winning a race. Mm-hmm. And I can ANCAP all day long. I'm good at it. I did it for a while. But now we have to win a race.
Right.
And I'm not going to not vote for Gary at this point. I don't care what he says. My ballot access and my ability to run candidates in 2018 hinges on Gary posting 10% nationally. That's such a long shot that he needs every bit of help he can get. Right. So I'm going to give him help. I'm still going to shit on him. But
that's exactly it. You hold his feet to the fire every time he fucking steps away, and we help the party grow. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because ultimately Gary's not going to be here very much longer. So
no, he's going to be off playing candlelit fucking chess. with his boyfriend.
With the original libertarian.
Oh my God. I know this is being recorded technically, but I have to get one more thing off my chest, and I can't say it as officially part of my show. I'm pretty
sure. Hang on. Just be aware, whatever you're going to say will still be on YouTube.
I'm going to say it anyway. Find it.
Okay,
I found it very disconcerting that Bill Weld's wife was wearing blue jeans.
Wait, mom jeans?
Not even mom jeans. She looked more manly than he did.
Oh.
I'm just gonna. She's not.
Was it like a Putin? Was it like a Putin bike riding?
Sweet woman. I talked with her for a little bit. I just don't know if she's actually that. She's not as into him as Gary is. Let's just put it that way.
New scandal breaking.
Bill
Weld's wife not that into him.
If I found out, we should start a rumor.
Oh God, we shouldn't start any rumors.
Let's start a rumor. We post all the really gay glares. And we go, this is why Bill Weld is so supportive of LGBT. Because no one's going to keep it from Gary. Nobody puts
That's
Gary
actually
in the corner.
Not a bad meme. Let's make that a meme.
Okay. I'm just going to wait until you're talking about something important, and then I'm going to derail it with this.
Oh, perfect. Warned. That sounds great. Luckily, I don't talk about too much that's important. So that's a good thing.
No, seriously, I've said before, and I'll say it again. I want to find someone who looks at me the way Gary looks at Bill. That's when I know I'll be in a happy relationship.
Yeah, so far you've only got people who look at you like Helen Keller.
Oh, well, it's better than that people look at me like my ex-wife.
Well, yeah, that's probably true. Probably speak about the same language, though.
Yeah, that bitch is rotting somewhere out in Vegas, though, right now.
Why'd you send her my way? Oh, the other thing I want to talk about is the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Oh.
And the marijuana thing.
Yeah. So I've already outed myself if they ever want to come arrest me for pot possession.
Well, that's only they would have to go to the Supreme Court to affect you.
But I've come out and been on the record now saying, this is why I don't get a medical marijuana card. I told you fuckers once you're on a list, they're going to fuck with you. I don't know how. I just know they will. And I'm not going on the record being on a list that violates federal law. Right. Even though I believe in civil disobedience, I'd rather not pay $300 a year, which is what it costs for a medical license up here, to legally smoke weed when it's $75 for any possession under 2.5 ounces. Look, I'm never going to be carrying more than 2 ounces on me. I rarely carry more than 1/8 to 1/4 on me. Big whoop. I'll take the $75 fine if they actually do catch me. Most of the time, they just take the weed and say, knock it off. And they'll smoke the weed themselves. Heck, I have smoked with a cop from Bar Harbor who confiscated weed from college kids. That was just maybe 2 months ago.
Why didn't we do a story on that?
Because I'm not supposed to talk about that, even though we just did.
Oh, good. Good. That's on the internet now.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal. All right, let's do this thing. I will introduce you, and we will get rolling. You good with that?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right.
I'm tired now. I need my nap now.
Do you think you can do the 3-second countdown again?
All right, can we do it without fucking cracking up?
We'll find out. Whenever you're ready. Oh, shit, I didn't even see you started. All right, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Well, I just did one, but that's okay.
Oh, my bad. All right, guys, welcome back to Liberty Coast to Coast. Very exciting today. We have a guest back on the show finally after a long period away. Let's welcome back Keith. Keith, how you doing?
Hey, listen, it is great to be back, and I just want to say to everyone who sent me messages concerned where I was, I've had a few health issues. I'm doing better than Hillary Clinton. That much I can say. To be honest, I'd even be willing to prove it. In fact, Cody, would you mind? I'd like to do a feat of strength to demonstrate my ability. In fact, some might say this might be my bid to jump in the race to run for president, but no, I'm going to let Gary have all the joy with that right now, and it's a little too late to be nominated. I have here a
Oh.
jar of pickles.
What?
Yes, I have a jar of pickles. And pickles, we know, are the universal American political sign of physical fitness and presidential aptitude, as seen
Absolutely.
on the Jimmy Kimmel Show.
100%. I mean, I wouldn't take any other test as proof.
All right.
Can you keep the seal close to the microphone so we could hear the fresh pop as you're?
Yeah, we don't want Alex Jones exposing us.
God, no. If we had Alex Jones come after us, we'd be ripped to shreds. Half the shit we say on here can't be aired. So, if you could keep that close enough that Alex himself would be able to hear it, that would go a long ways.
All right, I'm gonna put it right here.
All right.
The seal. Inspect the seal. Notice
from out here in California, it looks great, Kate. No, zero dripping.
There's no pre-loosened condition.
Anybody who is listening to this, I will verify there is no drippage coming from the lid. Zero drippage.
See that wonderful pickle right there? That pickle's soon to be free. With your help.
Delicious pickle.
All right.
All right, here we go.
3, 2, feats of strength.
Oh, we got it.
I don't know if you heard the pop. If it picked it up.
Yeah.
Now, that right there, I think I just did better than Gary did. I
wonder why that
Northeastern tour. But I want to stroke my ego a little bit and tell you guys where I've been. In addition to having my little health thing, I've been helping out with the LPME, and we just had Gary up here for a rally. And I thought I'd play a little prank on Gary, and I actually gave him a jar of pickles to open. Unfortunately, I did not tell him it was held down with the full force of Harambe. A nice little ring of Gorilla Glue and a cell phone camera later. We have one of the.
What they don't know is that glue is actually made out of Harambe.
It was made from his remains. It was the last thing he gave to the world.
Terrible.
Oh man, we just lost the Harambe audience.
We did.
Yeah, I suggest you guys check out Liberty Viral Gary Johnson Punked if you haven't seen already. You can also check it out in the Boston Globe, and
it's also on our Instagram page.
It is on our Instagram page, and it's a really fun time. And you know what? Spoiler alert: Gary couldn't get them open, but you know what was great is those pickles really felt his Johnson. If you watch this video, now that may be lost on you, but watch the video, you'll understand.
Yeah, and I kind of want to throw my 2 cents on there too, because there's a lot of people who are like, oh my God, he can first of all, the people who said he can seriously hurt himself, I had trouble not laughing at. I don't know if they were expecting him to drop the pickle jar on his foot, if the jar was to shatter into a million pieces. I've never heard of pickle jar injuries. But there were people complaining about, oh, why are you playing pranks on Gary? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Gary handled it really, really well. And I think that'll play really well with our audience specific, Keith. Mainly because there are a lot of us in the circle that we run in who are a little bit critical of Gary and some of the positions he takes, being that a lot of our friends, supported Austin Peterson. But what I think the shows is just how personable Gary can be at times. And that goes a long way when you're running against Hillary and Trump.
Yeah, and I gotta say this too. You see it at the end of the video. He doesn't get mad at me for playing the prank on him. In fact, I think he was relieved to have a break in the stress of running for office. He came in, he shook my hand, and off camera we had a little bit of a talk afterwards. And he is for all his philosophical faults, he is a great and genuine guy. And that video does do a great job in demonstrating it. But there's one other great and genuine guy, or so I thought, that I'd like to talk about, Cody. And this is on the heels of an endorsement that a lot of libertarians are having a hard time dealing with, and I'm included. Rand Paul, listen, for those of you who say we only criticize Gary, not true. Rand Paul, as far as I'm concerned, I understood Mitch McConnell. And I stretched to understand Mitt Romney. But you know what? I really, really do not support his choice to endorse Donald Trump. So much so, I'm going to do a little something for you. I was a Rand guy. And I want to show you the evolution.
What are you doing?
I'm losing this shirt. The shirt's done. I'm not wearing it.
Oh, God. I hope there's something underneath.
Oh, there is. There is.
Oh, good.
Now, this is what I look like without glasses. Be afraid.
It's you.
So, I went from being a Rand guy originally to being an Austin Peterson guy. And
for those of you guys who can't see, he's now wearing an Austin Peterson t-shirt.
Yeah, and you know what? Austin is a fantastic guy. He's the future of the movement. But after the pickle thing, I got this soft spot for Gary. And I think from here on out, I'm going to continue to be critical when I think he steps out of line. But I've now gone full in the tank.
Oh, wow. For those of you guys who can't see, he just took off the Austin Peterson shirt and underneath revealed a Johnson Weld 2016 t-shirt. Now,
I'm not selling out. There's just, if you might have heard in my previous comments on our previous shows, I'm at peace. I don't expect Johnson or Weld to be libertarians. I never really have. I see them as centrist, and I do see them as the lesser of three evils. And shoot me if you think that's well, that's bad terminology. I just gave Hillary's people a wide open ticket, but
yep. Well, there goes Keith back in the hospital.
Yeah. No, I really do think they're if at the very least, I know you disagree with them, but I want the plurality of thought. There need to be more options than the two parties, and Johnson Weld do provide that option. So much so, they're even polling really well, surprisingly, among the veterans. And go ahead, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what's been going on with that Commander-in-Chief Forum.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a Commander-in-Chief Forum that Gary Johnson initially was not invited to, held by the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans Forum of America. And initially there was a big hubbub because in the military, Gary Johnson actually polls pretty well, actually significantly above both Trump and Hillary. According to thehill.com, it was 38.7% Gary Johnson, 30.9% Trump, and 14.1% Clinton. Those 14.1% are probably the only ones that'll be remaining after this poll's read, because the Clinton campaign will probably go after all the Gary and Trump people. But I mean, that's a significant 8-point lead even over Trump in second place. So it's again, to clarify, 38.7% Gary Johnson, 30.9% Trump, and 14.1% for Clinton. And an even bigger thing than that, Keith, is that Johnson is actually favored in all but one branch in the military, and that being the Navy, where he's losing by 0.5% to Donald Trump.
0.5. That's not a large margin. I mean, this is a man that's highly popular with those who are literally fighting, in defense of our Constitution. And you know what? Some libertarians don't like the military. I tend to come from a more conservative side, and I have a great deal of respect for anyone who serves. I think their opinion matters because they are representing the nation abroad. And if they have to put their neck on the line abroad, I think their input should be valued. And I think if Gary's not included, I think what you're telling the veterans is that you don't care what the veterans think. And I think if anyone should have input, it should be them, in addition to everyone else. I mean, this is the Commander-in-Chief Forum. This is supposed to be foreign policy.
Right. So what ended up happening was that, specifically headed by the Libertarian Republican LibertyViral.com, and there may be a bunch of other groups involved as well, but both of those entities put out big articles saying, hey, Gary's not been invited, and they pushed hard to get people to message the IAVA and invite Gary, and lo and behold, it worked, sort of. So it turns out that they flipped and they decided that they were going to invite Gary and then his ride-along, Jill Stein, who keeps riding Gary's coattails everywhere he goes. And everybody, started applauding. Oh, good job, IAVA. Great. That's fantastic. We're glad that you guys listened to the people who will be listening to your debate. And then we read the fine print and found out that they were invited to the debate, but not on the same stage. Similar to what the Republican Party did during their primary election, they will have a kiddies table where Gary and Jill Stein will do battle.
Yeah, and the worst part about the kiddie table is, yeah, we call it the kiddie table. It's demeaning. It basically says these opinions are secondary. Say what you will about Jill Stein. I do agree that she's riding Gary's coattails, but again, I like the idea of a plurality of opinion. I would love if there were 4 different points that the American public could choose from instead of, it's like Pepsi or Coke. Are you a blasphemer for asking, hey, can I have a Dr. Pepper? Can I have a Sprite? I mean, this is supposed to be a country of choice and freedom. This whole duopoly thing it's nakedly presented by the way this forum is being handled.
100%. 100%. And we see that too with what's going on with Gary Johnson and Jill Stein in the actual presidential debates, the ones that'll be held on the major news networks. Now, what's now spurned out of Gary's kiddie table invite has turned into 2 protests that we know of. One being in New York City on September 7th at 6:30 to 10 on 49th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue by the Rockefeller Center, if anybody wanted to attend, in order to help get Gary to the IAVA. But there's also a Let Gary Debate Twitter bomb, which is occurring on Saturday, September 3rd between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern. And those would be great forums, people to let their voice be heard, especially if you're in the military and you support Gary. Either go out in New York City near Rockefeller Center or get on Twitter on the 3rd and start a message that Gary needs to be heard. Jill deserves to be heard as much as we disagree with her opinion as well. The more voices at any table, the better. It's just unbelievable to me that in this day of age, it's not out of ignorance that these commissions and these debates don't invite opinions that may not be as common. It's almost out of fear. They fear losing the control that they have by allowing other voices in. And I don't know how you feel about that, Keith, but it pisses me off.
Well, here's how I feel about this. Listen, I have watched probably 15 or 16 debates with Donald Trump. I can tell you what he's going to say. There's no mystery to what's on that man's mind. He tells us what he thinks every day, and the public knows it. It's not much different for Hillary, though they had significantly less debates, and she's not quite as vocal as Trump. But the American public knows who these people are. They frankly don't need to be reminded, and anytime they're told their position, it doesn't matter because it'll change in another week. Where Gary and Jill, they're trying to offer an alternative platform, and the fact of the matter is, they may get more steam if only Americans knew they were out there. And it would seem to me that the job of the Presidential Debate Commission would be to make sure that the American public were enlightened. And I want to bring this up. We had a little talk about this earlier today. I want to give a big thumbs up to Bill Weld for challenging the Presidential Debate Commission, saying, frankly, they should lose their tax-exempt status for excluding them from the debates. And I don't even understand. Please, somebody out there, if anyone wants to contact us and explain to us where in the Constitution we got this Presidential Debate Commission, I would love to hear it. I seriously would, because I don't understand how this entity even exists. I don't understand the justification for it. I don't understand how it makes so much of a decision in our personal lives as to what we can and can't see. I just don't understand why they're the end-all be-all. It's not a private industry. It's not Fox. It's not CNN. This is supposedly the Presidential Debate Commission.
They have one job. One job they have, and that is to make sure that there are voices that need to be heard in the debates. And when they knowingly and willfully neglect different opinions that need to be expressed, that's no different than not allowing you to choose who you want to vote for. It is no different because you alienate many people at that point that you say, hey, these opinions aren't valid, right? That's essentially what the CDC is telling people, is that, those opinions aren't valid.
Yeah, and at the very least, if they're going to act blatantly and hide behind First Amendment protection, they should experience the free market as all the other news networks are forced to. And, they should lose some credibility on that ground. I mean, they're being blatant. They're forcing a decision.
Right.
The one nice thing we can say now is we don't have to be forced to see everything through a narrowed filter of cable TV and radio. We do have the internet. We do have shows like this one. We have other great shows out there where you guys can make informative decisions after going and doing some research on your own. But there's still a lot of America that relies on these old mediums, and a lot of these older voters, they just simply, I'm sorry, but there are more people under 45 that know who Gary Johnson is than there are people over 45. In my experience, especially with the rally we hosted a week ago.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because I know when we were at the convention in Orlando, we had some drawback with a lot of the baby boomer generation in terms of telling us we're naive and this, that, and the other for voting who we voted for. And it's funny to see now the contrast, because that's exactly what's happening now. You have people who are stuck in their ways, who only take in certain mediums, and that's what they believe, and that shapes their opinion. And unfortunately, that's what the rest of us get stuck with. So that's an interesting dynamic that we see play out now, especially now that the millennial generation is the largest voting bloc that exists. I mean, by large numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but I know if you were to Google the largest voting bloc, it would be the millennial vote.
I believe the last time I heard, it not on registered voters, but on sheer voting age alone, the millennial generation outnumbers the baby boomers eligible still to vote by about 8 to 10%, which is an incredible margin. If only they could be motivated to vote. And I actually think a lot of them are going to sit out. I think they're going to sit out entirely. I think a lot of people think they're going to vote for Hillary, and frankly, I just don't think they're going to vote at all.
I would concur. I would absolutely concur, because a lot of those people were burners. A lot of those, the ones that are still active will be on Gary's side. That's easy to be said. The ones who would sit down are the ones that were the burners that couldn't be convinced by Gary to touch his Johnson.
Yeah, and oh man, yeah, and and some of them, I understand the counterculture and the attractiveness of the alt-right. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but libertarianism and conservatism are now the rebellious philosophies. They're so censored that, I mean, I don't know if you saw this story the other day, but there was a man who saved someone from a burning wreck, and when CNN aired it live, you could see his shirt clearly. But when they rebroadcast it both on CNN and HLN, you could no longer see that he was wearing a Trump Pence shirt. Now, I don't support Trump, but frankly, the fact that they felt threatened that someone could do something positive in this world and still support someone like Trump, it just, the bias is so blatant. I got to think the millennial generation can smell it, can see it. Maybe the baby boomers are conditioned to it, and it's in one ear and out the other, but it's on full display for us. And this is the time where we need other options because we're not satisfied.
Right. And, I'll bring up another issue that really kind of plays into this, and into the fact that we only get two options. I don't know if you've been paying attention to my neck of the woods, Keith, but something big happened over here over the last week. And that was that the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, based out of San Francisco, California, ruled that they didn't rule. They upheld a ban on sales of firearms to anybody who carries or holds a marijuana card, a medical card.
Shall not be infringed.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know if that's a hard phrase to understand. Not only that, what crime have they committed?
They haven't.
What is the justification for allowing a federal court to disarm you of a right, not only a right, the second right in the Bill of Rights? They're stripping you without due process.
Well, hold on.
They are violating. Go ahead.
Are there similar provisions for, say, oxycodone, lorazepam, maybe Lunesta, all drugs associated with wild mood swings or perhaps suicidal behavior?
I do not believe so. However, there may be something that overlaps with the mental health screening. Maybe they catch some of that there. But to my knowledge, they have not come out in terms of saying that if you take Lunesta or you take any sedative or antidepressant or uh, other psychoactive drug, that you can no longer purchase firearms. And what's funny about this is, what does this encourage? This encourages the black market of firearms, which is exactly what they're trying to fight on the other end, right? You have them wanting to take guns out of criminals' hands, which is kind of an ironic sentence, because how do you become a criminal with a gun unless you're breaking laws? Um, and now what they're doing is they're forcing people to protect their own lives, but in order to do so, they either have to not have a medical marijuana card for something that they find beneficial and helpful for their body, or they have to go find a gun on the black market, or just not register a firearm. So either way, they are taking it on both ends.
Yeah, and and I want to bring this conversation back to something I heard Gary mention when he was talking with Chris Wallace last Sunday. He goes, listen, marijuana as a treatment for PTSD is much better than the alternative of heroin, which is the current plague, at least here on the East Coast. I'm saying if you tell people they can't smoke, they can't have a medical marijuana license to treat their PTSD and own guns, man, maybe they'll go use opiates instead to treat their condition. And frankly, I trust people on opiates less with guns than I do people on marijuana. I mean, I have been known to roll a blunt or two at the firing range. Come get me.
They'll come out to California.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really weird. And I don't know. I've always been skeptical of the medical marijuana program from the get-go. I don't like the idea of a state registry of names that go directly contradictory to federal statutes. If you have marijuana still scheduled as a class 1 drug, which the FDA upheld a few weeks ago, no matter what, if you're on that list, you can expect to have your rights stripped from you at one time or another. People call me Dale Gribble because they thought I was a crazy conspiracy theorist because I didn't want to pay $300 for a medical marijuana license, which, listen, if you're a real libertarian, understand. You don't need to buy a permission slip to smoke weed. You're a free human being. You can put whatever you want in your own body, okay?
Bodily autonomy. Yeah, and the thing is that's funny about this, especially too, is it kind of plays to both sides, right? It plays both to the Republicans who are gonna hug their firearms and say, well, no, that's not appropriate because you're infringing on somebody's rights to own a firearm. And on the other hand, you have the liberals who are for legalization of marijuana, and they're like, no, that's bullshit. Now you're affecting these people who need this to benefit themselves. And us libertarians over here, like, what the fuck, guys? Why can't we just work together like this all the time?
I mean, it reminds me of I don't know if you ever listen to Dave Smith. He's a great libertarian comic. He said, man, maybe we just need to get elected as Democrats and start passing really shitty laws so people start finally paying attention. Like, maybe ban Starbucks from existing, period. Then people will wake up. I feel like this court decision is in that vein. It's such a terrible decision.
It's horrible. But if you ban Starbucks, would that mean that the white girls can't even?
I mean, that's what I hear about 3 out of 4 of them.
I think that's the current polling. So if you guys haven't been outraged by anything that we brought up yet, you really should start looking into. It's funny to me because there are so many people who just they take certain issues further than they do others, so far that they are willing to hold philosophical inconsistencies within their own pattern of thinking. And one thing I've really tried to do is, even with things that kind of take or make me take a step back, is to challenge the position that I hold to make it philosophically coherent. I want to make sense because I want to be able to explain why I believe something and not have to change my positions based on what I believe, right? You have to hold that thought completely continuously through in every position. Now, of course, there are some people who are like, well, I can believe what I want to believe. Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to be philosophically congruent if you don't want to be. However, you sound completely hypocritical when you are, anti-gun but pro-marijuana, and then when you're pro-marijuana and anti-gun, that it's just so this ninth court, the ninth court ruling, Ninth Circuit Court ruling, should bring both sides together. You would think.
You would think. And I hope Gary soon makes a comment on this decision if he hasn't already. I haven't seen it, but I'm looking for it. I'm eagerly awaiting it for it, and I hope he appreciates it with the same amount of passion he had when he was talking about foreign policy with Chris Wallace. I'm gonna bring that back because I wish I had seen that fire in the primaries, and I know a lot of other people brought up that clip and they said the same thing. That was the good side of Gary. And if you want your guns and you want your weed, I think you should come over to the Libertarian Party. If you've been on the fence, you don't like Hillary, and you Trump people, be honest with yourself. You don't like Trump. You don't like Trump. Nobody likes Trump. Trump's own family doesn't like Trump.
That's why he has to marry illegal immigrants.
Cruz's family.
Yeah, if it weren't for illegal immigration, he'd have no wives.
Yeah. But don't let yourself think that you have to make this decision. And I don't know if you've seen it rolling around, but there's an amazing super PAC out there doing some really good ads. And I'm not talking about Matt Kibb's super purple PAC, which has shifted from being pro Gary Johnson from pro Rand to pro Gary Johnson, but I'm actually talking about balancedrebellion.com. Now, they haven't paid us to say this. I've been in elections for about 12 years, everything from state, local, and presidential. It's where I naturally fit. And I have never seen an ad more convincing than the one featuring Abraham Lincoln, where he compares Hillary and Trump to the mob and the Joker. And he's right. Yeah. And he says, why waste your vote on a third party? I mean, what has a third party ever gotten you? Gee, maybe he got you someone like Lincoln.
Yeah, and I absolutely did. That was the creation of the Republican Party before they held no values. And not to say that there's not enough to criticize Abraham Lincoln on and habeas corpus.
Well, we could get into the weeds on federalism, but let's be honest, that's not the battle we need to fight right now.
No, it's not.
Right now, the current GOP resembles the old Whig Party. It's fractured.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and actually, there are people who have compared Donald Trump to, I believe, was it William Henry Harrison? That was the last Whig. I can't remember.
I wish I knew off the top of my head, but public education is failing me right now.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm gonna find this information out right now. But it was just amazing to me that this comparison was exactly, it was on point. It was very on point. To see how they compared Trump and what he's doing in the GOP to what this president, it was Zach Taylor, sorry. It was Zachary Taylor who killed the Whig Party, essentially. He wasn't a Whig when he started. He joined the Whig Party. They thought he was going to be the savior of the party, and sure enough, he sank it. And that's kind of what we're seeing with the GOP. And it's kind of sad. It is kind of sad because things are nostalgic and there were some good things to come out of the GOP. But when it's your time to go, it's your time to go.
And, save for a few gaffes. I mean, hey, you Democrats, you got to have one Joe Biden. If you enjoyed Joe Biden, come to the Libertarian Party. We got two.
Yeah, two of them. Now, we were talking before the show, and I don't know if you like that segue. But you were mentioning some things that have been happening in Maine, other than your pickle event. I actually believe that there was some kind of nonsense coming out of your governorship, and I don't know how much you can go into this or what you know of it, but what's going on over there with LePage?
Let's just say, and for any of my Maine viewers who are watching this, I have always been sympathetic to LePage. Now, my very first governor's campaign I ever worked on, you can see the LePage sticker on my base case back here, goes back to when I helped him win his primary, when he was the long horse, and he was basically the Ron Paul of Maine. I'm going to come out and say it. LePage is more libertarian than Gary Johnson. LePage is a wonderful fiscal conservative. Frankly, there are some terrible things that come out of his mouth if you hear them and you don't put them into context. Maine is one of the whitest states in the nation. And again, if you haven't been offended yet, wait till I get into this tirade about why I like LePage. You have towns that are 95% white from Bangor up. I'm sorry, it's just there's nothing but Franco-Americans and Canadian immigrants. That's the makeup. They're just.
Hold on. Yeah. Canada has immigrants?
Yeah, we get Canadian immigrants all the time. A lot of the people are Acadians. Yeah, I know. It's not just Mexicans. Where's our northern wall? Just kidding. We don't need one.
Yeah, right now.
But no, and so you have these towns, and from where he's from, north of Bangor, you've got to understand if somebody comes through with New Jersey plates, people look at them funny. They just do. And it's an old-fashioned way of thinking, but it's like the black on black crime statistics. You will trigger people when you use facts. He has a point when he says what he says. When he said people like Leggy, Shifty, and D-Money are coming into the state to sell heroin, he's not wrong. I used to live next to a D-Money, and he was a D-bag. And this is entirely true. And I'm sorry, it's a very old the state of Maine is about 30 years behind the rest of the nation. It's one of the reasons I love it. And someone like LePage, I'm going to put out something that's going to blow your mind. His son is black. He adopted a son. And some people even try and say, well, his son was raised well, so that means...
But isn't that statement alone, shouldn't that trigger social justice warriors?
It should.
That black people can't raise their kids well?
It should. And the amount of insults I've seen come out of the Maine DNC and come out of some of these national outlets insulting LePage, I understand why he got so angry that he threatened that reporter. I actually think that's one of the funniest damn things I've ever heard come out of his mouth. Would I have done it? Absolutely have not. If I were there, I would have probably taken the phone from him and hung it up on him. If I were still, in the Maine GOP. I don't, however, see how anything offensive he says changes his fiscal record to the state. Maine is putting up the first surplus it's put up in over 80 years. We now have a $93 million surplus. We have now paid back every hospital that had a debt through Medicaid, some of which were over $500 million in debt. He has made good on all his fiscal promises. He has vetoed a number of pork bills. We have loosened up gun laws with the thanks of State Senator Eric Brakey. We have reformed welfare into a model that is the envy of the nation. He is a very libertarian governor, and he does say things that offend people, and they do trigger people. But tell me this. Are the words that are spoken about social issues more important than the actual legislation that are being penned? I don't think so. I'm not seeing him saying join the KKK. I'm seeing him make blatant descriptive assumptions, and while they're politically incorrect, he is what everyone thinks Trump is. Right. That's it. He's what people think Trump is, and even Trump is starting to not like him because he's too plain spoken. And I'm going to continue to enjoy him. I'm still looking to run a libertarian to take over for him when he finishes up in 2 years, even though there are a number of people trying to recall him right now. I think we could put another libertarian in there and they'll do great after him. You've got to understand, though, personal words do not change economic realities. $93 million surplus, and we have gone from Forbes' 49th worst business state to do business in up to the top 10 in his
You left
last
my
6
state.
years. Okay.
You left my state alone. I think we moved up when you moved down.
And that's the end of my tirade. I'm proud of my state, and I don't regret having the governor I have. And I've gotten a lot of people asking me, how do you deal with having a racist governor? I say, don't be so thin-skinned. I'm sorry. Frankly, I don't care when he says dumb shit. I don't.
I can't believe you say that as a cis white male.
Yeah.
You're gonna get so much hate. I can't
My
wait
privilege. My privilege. The guy was homeless. The guy was homeless until age 15. He lived under a goddamn bridge.
When Trigglypuff comes after you, I will be there to document every moment of it.
Hell, I would love to see Paul LePage, if he does get recalled, I would love to see him join Milo on the Dangerous Faggot Tour. That'd be awesome. They would be a hell of a duo.
That would be very, very entertaining.
Yeah, I think that ends my tirade because it's getting a little. I'm sounding like a Republican apologist, but you know what? I'm standing by my words. LePage is a dyed-in-the-wool libertarian by his actions, and I will support people who move us closer to small government and move us towards the needle of liberty, regardless of their party. I'm working from within the LP. I want to see liberty thrive here, and I want to give people an option who are dissatisfied with Trump. But please, do not let your feelings and your sense of political correctness cloud your judgment. We have to be better than that. We really do. This whole attack on LePage is nothing more than clickbait sensationalism over this ridiculous politically correct culture.
And I couldn't. And rant. Step off soapbox. I couldn't agree more. I think that there have been more offensive things. We had a congresswoman in California who, at the term Indian, didn't know which Indian they were talking about. So she asked whether it was the red dot Indian or the feather Indian. And this is stated on record. So it's not like
that's
this
worse.
is just beholden. No, it's far worse.
Look,
especially because she probably doesn't even know like where geographically that's different. We have to stop pretending that people can't use off-color remarks, and that makes them being able to paint people wholeheartedly in one direction.
I do have an example of one that's terrible. And if you want to actually be offended, look at Mike Pence. He had a camp to pray the gay away. I mean,
no, it gets worse than that with Pence, actually, in terms of if you really want to break that down. He wanted to take federal funding away from Planned Parenthood to turn that federal funding then to a gay conversion camp.
I'm all for defunding Planned Parenthood, but listen, the way to make little boys not gay is not to put 1,000 of them under one tent together. That's just not going to end well.
Well, we've done it. We have pissed everybody off.
Wait. I don't think I've said anything to slander Asians yet.
No, dude, let's go. Let's fix this.
All right. This is
just opportunity.
This is Potpourri Stage. If you haven't seen him, check out a YouTube rapper by the name of Rich Chiga. I shit you not. Do you know who Rich Chiga is?
No, but I can just infer in his name what in the hell he's going for.
He wears a salmon polo shirt, a little tight blue short shorts, and a fanny pack, but he raps as hard as the Yin Yang Twins. And I haven't stopped laughing at him for about a week straight. So I think we've covered all our bases. If you weren't offended enough, let
us know. Yeah, please email us, and we will work to offend you.
I think the guy is great. I think he's amazing. I think if he collaborated with William Hung, he'd be unstoppable.
Oh my God. There's a throwback.
Right? Hey, listen, everything else is going back to the 80s or the 90s. Hell, we even got Melissa Joan Hart coming out endorsing Gary Johnson.
That's great.
Yeah,
you're right.
Clarissa explains it all. Libertarianism is the right choice. I mean...
Oh man, that's good.
It really is.
Well, Keith, I think we've wrapped up what we need to talk about today. It's been great that to have you back in the air. I want to thank our listeners who waited so long for us to come back and dealt with. It wasn't just Keith. I had some personal things going on as well, both medically and with my family. So we want to thank you guys for sticking around and coming back and listening to us. If you guys heard our last episode, it was just me. So it's great to have Keith back. I'm glad he's back by my side. You know, I called him a spirit animal.
Me blush like Gary makes Bill Well blush.
Well, you know, you said you wanted to be looking that way, and maybe I can just do that for you. But yeah, Keith, it's been great to have you back. It's been great to kind of get this back up and running.
It's been great to be back. It really has.
And you know, I'm gonna let you close it out like you normally do, and pitch us and pitch Liberty, because that's what you do best.
Listen, Liberty is a good thing. It's a great thing. We are gonna make Liberty great again. Let's make it great from coast to coast. You want to help us make Liberty viral? Get out there and Liberty everywhere.
Make it huge. You guys haven't checked us out online.
Huge.
It's gonna be
huge. We got a huge Johnson. You're gonna love our huge Johnson. He's not so good with the pickles.
No, not good with the pickles.
Again,
if you guys haven't checked us out already, go to www.liberty. Can you let me get through this?
Sorry.
If you guys haven't checked us out, you haven't checked us out already, go to our website, www.libertycoast2coast.com. That's www.libertycoast2coast.com. Check us out on Facebook. You can find us by searching that same name, or you can just type in Liberty C, the number 2C. Follow us on Twitter, Liberty C, the word TOC, right? So 2 as opposed to the number. You guys can follow us on Instagram and everywhere else. Help us get the message of Liberty out. You know, Keith, what do you think everybody should be doing? Should they be helping spread Liberty?
I think they should. And damn it, I'm gonna say getting behind this wonderful centrist in his colostomy bag of a VP is the way to do it.
I would agree, Keith. I would agree. And with that, guys, we will see you next time. All right, perfect. So now we can just continue talking as whatever, because I can cut all the rest of that.
You're going to keep this live?
No.